What's going on, everybody? Yo, I made a vid on Refactor versus Eclipse protocol. I made 2 builds of each, so this video is a little lengthy than my usual ones, but here we go. So it took me some time to get 2 sets of the Refactor, you know, with the right rules I'm looking for. And the Eclipse protocol I already made a few years ago, so here we go. So it's pretty much the new versus the old. Alright, so let's get into it. Build 1 is 6 yellows. Technically 7 with the car 41 with the special, but you got to take it off and put it on. But it really doesn't count because I already got 6, if you notice. I got it with the vial mask. I got all 4 parts. And I'm using the Hive Stinger with the fire starter. Alright, that's to start with. I tried it with other ones like the oxidizer, but I wasn't going to show you every single thing, you know, so I showed a little bit. So, you know, when I made like over 30 builds, bro, and some of them are just for fun, some of them are for real, some of them are just like trial and error, you know, they fail, some of them pass, you know. But that's when you do, when you got time, when you got everything in the game, you just start making some funny ass builds. So I sped this up because I forgot to put the mods, but mostly you put skill haste. So I got the 4 parts, and what I would suggest is make every brand in every part. So for backpack, get all the name brands, make them all yellow, red, blue, so just in case, you know what I mean. So let's get into it. So here's me trying to use the 6 yellows, which it's not bad, but it took a lot of work. You know, I had to work to stay alive. I took damage. I took a lot of damage, but it does work. If you notice, you see how, and it goes over where you lose armor. So, you know, I got that modifier on that, you know, you take damage, you lose the armor. So, but it works. It even gives you shield over that. But I was having fun with it. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't for me. You know, mostly the fire starter wasn't working that well, and I tried it with almost a lot. So I wasn't going to show you an example with all the skills, because remember it said with skill, damage from skills at full armor would give you shield, will replenish what you lost. But really, it still replenishes even if you take damage. It will still replenish it. It just won't replenish fully, but it works. It works. So it all depends on how much damage you give it to him. Like you see, I just got that little bit right there for the little bit, you know. So it all depends how much damage it does. Bada beam, bada boom. The only thing I also got I didn't like was I gotta consistently keep picking it up. I gotta keep picking up the hive, because the hive was actually giving me more shield in return. See? So eventually I tried it with the oxidizer, I tried it with the traps. With this build, all skills were working, of course, besides like the shield and the blind, which I thought about using the fireflies, but that wasn't really going to give me anything. So here we go. Let's take a look at build number 2. All right. This one here is 3 yellows and 3 reds. So I try to make it half and half. Now it says here, if you read it right, okay, with skill damage. So I was like, all right, I put the drone on. So I was like, the drone will do some damage, and I got my shield, and I should be all right, you know. And I got the memento backpack, and once again, I used the regular backpack. I used the gifts. You know, I was putting name brands that were giving me headshot, CC, CD, Grupo. You know, I wasn't gonna, like I said, I wasn't gonna show you every part of that I tested it on. So I wanted to show you memento. Kind of, I was trying to make like a striker build, half and half out of it, see if that works. And to be honest, it failed. It didn't really do it. It had decent gun damage, but really, and the drone was doing damage to them, but I wasn't getting my shield. I wasn't getting replenished. And it says, I circled it. It says when you do skill damage. Damn it! If the drone ain't a skill damage, then tell me what it is then. Cause it's in the skill slot, right? Exactly. So I guess I'm just pointing out something that's broken in the game. I guess it's not for all skills. All right. Like I could have just put the hive on there and it'll work fine, but it wasn't replenishing as much as when I had all six yellows. But it wasn't doing bad. As you see, I'm on heroic with 3 modifiers on and stuff like that. So, but I was, I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling this refactor, as you could say. But if you're feeling it, then that, by all means play with the new builds. But if anything, I liked the six yellows. That I was balling out with that. I was having fun. I played with that one for a little bit. The second build with the reds, it just wasn't kicking in for me. So I put this one down and I went back to the 6 yellows and I played it for the rest of the day. And here, like I said, I was like Firefly, nah. Oxidizer, I did it with the oxidizer. After this, of course, I recorded it, but I was like, you know what? Like I said, 13 minutes on this video is already too long, bro. See, I let the drone do the work. It didn't give me anything. I know I said with full armor, but when I had the 6 yellows, I took damage and I still replenished. So it's like, why didn't it replenish for me with the 3 reds? But it was the same thing with the other backpacks. See, the gun damage wasn't too bad. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like one-shotting or insta killing him or anything, but it was putting in some work. It was alright, but if you want to play with it, try, make your own experiments. By all means, that's what the game's for. Just experiment on making stuff. Here we go. Eclipse Protocol. Yeah, boy, 6 yellows. This was my old school shade point farm. Before, when you were able to put all modifiers on, and Pistolero was there back in the days, which was great. So I'm just trying to show you that you can mix and match. It doesn't have to be exactly the way I did it. This is an old build I have. I'm still rocking it. I haven't even upgraded it yet because I'm messing with the striker and the skill build. The skill build I'm hooking up. Here we go. Look at that. You got a good spread. It's got a good spread. But it also feels like they nerfed the vial mask because they used to die a lot.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
That nigga dodged that shit, bro. That's why I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And the fire starter used to spread a little bit more better, but still, you don't have to use the fire starter with this build. You can still use something else. I'm just using, the hive stinger and the fire starter because it spreads. But regardless, whatever you use, you can use the electrical trap. It doesn't matter. It's this is a good build. I was running open world events and stuff like that, open world things like 30 seconds or less with this build back in the days. I could tell they nerfed it a little bit, but it still rocks. I love how everything got a good spread on it. It spreads to the enemy, and plus the Vial Mask does the debuff. But how do you miss? How can you fucking miss? But look at that, bro. I catch one dies, it spreads to the other one, bro. You can't go wrong, man.
Detecting additional hostile contacts.
Look. Blue. Look at that. Look at that. Alive in there. Get from me. Get away. Look, I'm taking no damage. I'm taking no damage, bro. No damage. Look. Oh. Bing. I took damage here because the people were walking by and you're in the middle of the open. But still, I didn't die. Alright, here's build number 2. 1 yellow and 5 reds. Technically two yellows. You gotta take the car 45 off with another one, put it back on, and it gives you 2. But as you see, I got 5 reds. 5 reds, boy. And it feels like they also nerf the St. Elmo with the electric popping up. They used to pop up more often. Now it's barely coming up, but it's still a good hard hitter. It's still a good assault rifle. You know, it's still a big mag, decent damage, steady. You can see with the Banshee, it still works. It will still spread if you kill them. So if they're still, you know, still dazed by the Banshee, it'll still spread to the other enemy. See that? That's the whole thing about it. Yes. See that debuff? That debuff spreads too. Look at that. This was a mean mugger. It wasn't as strong as the striker build, but this build was mean. Still good. Look. Bam. So, and I was like, you know what? Let me put another gun. All right. So I put the Pyromancer on. But I haven't put any points to it, but just to show you. So it says it does more damage when they're burning. So I was like, all right. Now just to show you that it spreads, bro. You could just catch one guy and it spreads. So I put the fire starter on. You know, since I only got 1 skill, I'm only getting 2. But still, watch, boom. 1 on fire. Killed them, boom. You saw that? You saw the spread? I know you saw the spread, bro. Nasty. And Eclipse Protocol 1, bro.
The old ways are the best.
Yep, the old way, the old build is the best build, bro. Eclipse Protocol for the win over the Refactor. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Till the next time, enjoy yourselves, play with the builds, make something. If you got something funky and it's fun, put it in the comments. I want to see it. Let me know what kind of builds that's funky and fun, man. Alright, take it easy. Till the next time, peace.